Basically, I don't think they like too many Chicanos crowded around at one time. So they see that and then they get afraid. They're afraid that we're all congregating in one. See, we don't have adequate facilities down here for the youth around this neighborhood. I think it would be a good idea if they can get some money together to provide for them, to have some place to go so they would stay off the streets. Like a little clubhouse. There's plenty of vacant buildings around here which can be leased out, you know, on the government funds or what have you, put the money to use, you know, rather than take it from us and not use it for nuclear weapons or whatever, you know. Use it for the community, you know, use it for the kids so they can have some place to go, so they don't hang around like they always are, and then they won't be harassed. They don't have no right talking about the way you dress. You know, the police think that La Raza is a big gang. You know, we just come to have fun, meet new people, and everything like that. You know, we ain't a gang. We just people like to have fun.
Nicholas Rosenberg here, punching back. I'm a private criminal defense attorney in the Los Angeles and Southern California area. I'm considered to be a certified specialist in criminal law, and I tend to do a lot of cases with gang allegations and serious and violent felonies. There's a lot of racial profiling that happens around the gangs, and if you see somebody, you know, 5'8", 20-year-old, HMA, bald head, big white T-shirt, baggy pants, then someone's going to say, hey, I think that guy might be a gangster, so law enforcement can initiate contact with that person.
Well, you know, everybody profiles. We see a car, it's driving erratically, it's got a busted taillight, you know, and we pull the car over, but we didn't profile whether he was black or white or Hispanic. We profiled the car and the way it acted.
To just blame police officers for all our issues? No. At this point in time, we already know. You're going to sell drugs? You're going to go to jail, homie. You're going to carry a gun? You're going to go to jail, homie. You're going to shoot and kill somebody? You're going to go to jail, homie. You're going to try to pull a gun on a cop? You're going to get shot. It's like, these are basic gang-banging 101 rules, homie. You're going to do this stupid shit's going to happen to you. But it seems like society is so woke. Streets ain't woke. You're going to get shot and killed.
When they first started those gang injunctions, I said, no, that's not good. That's not a good thing. Everybody got mad at me and they said, oh, well, these injunctions are working. I said, if you tell a gang member that he can't associate with other gang members, who's he going to associate with? Rival gang members? If he can't hang out with his cousin, if he can't make a phone call, if he can't live in his own neighborhood.
A gang injunction is basically a civil public nuisance order, and it's designed to prevent them from associating together. It can prevent them from wearing clothes, for example, Dallas Cowboy jersey. It can impose a curfew on, quote, known gang members, and it really can be disruptive to the community because you might have a cousin or a family member who's also served the gang injunction, and now you can't associate with that person.
Once that gang injunction went into place, you can kind of tell it became more like a patrolled state environment. You mean a lot of homies started dwindling down. They were getting incarcerated for hanging out with each other. And I'm talking about cousins and brothers and siblings, family.
Another thing I didn't like that we were doing was called gang sweeps. You know, you go into a neighborhood and you find out everybody that has a warrant or suspect in something, and then you arrest 200 gang members and you seize 500 guns. Those things are not effective. That's a Band-Aid. That's a for show for the 5 o'clock news. But that doesn't really affect a gang member. What affects the gang members is when you catch the guy who actually did the shooting. You bring him before the court and he gets sentenced and goes to jail. Then the neighborhood knows they're not just picking on us because we're Hispanic.
I think I went to prison at a time when even a lot of prisoners that, that's their home at the end of the day. They've been in there for a long time, some of the OGs. And I think I went to prison during a time when a lot of Chicanos inside prison were becoming political conscious, or at least it was being broadcasted to the public that we're no longer just gonna sit back and accept what the state called rehabilitation, because there is no rehabilitation in there. If anybody's giving us rehabilitation, it's gonna be ourselves.
When it came to getting released and I would go to court, I would tell the judge I didn't want to go home. I wanted to stay in there. And, and they were looking at me like, this guy wants to stay here? I go, I actually did. Because they were like those were like my brothers there now. You know what I mean? I had a bond with these guys,
Typically, when somebody's incarcerated in a prison environment where everyone else is already convicted, if they're offered the opportunity for rehabilitation, then their likelihood of reoffending goes down.
What are they going to do when they're out of prison? How are you going to help them? How are you going to give them the knowledge and the skills and whatever they need to make it? I think most of these guys, and I've talked to a lot of them, thousands and thousands of guys in prison, want help. They just can't get it.
I'm sitting on the beach in Corona del Mar Beach, my favorite one, in between Laguna and Newport Beach. I have my little cooler with my Chardonnay. I have my New York Review of Books to read. And I saw these 3 or 4 white dudes that looked like teachers or coaches. And they come down to the beach from there's a little hill you have to walk down. They come down to the beach with about 40 or 50 kids in shorts. Most of them were Mexican. And I found out they were part of a juvenile group. These guys were kept in the house separate from the jail, and we're training them and teaching them. And I started crying. Because I said, that's all our kids need, man. Just get them. If they want to act bad, come on. We'll get you in an organization. We'll supervise you. We'll feed you. Act bad that way. Learn ways of acting that you're not going to kill yourself with drugs or alcohol or kill somebody else, some innocent person.
Sometimes I think as Chicanos, I think what destroyed a lot of us is sometimes when you have too much pride destroys and you start killing each other. Too much pride is bad.
Hip-hop, by the way, was always black and brown. It was the Puerto Ricans that helped create hip-hop, all 5 aspects of it, and then the Mexicans right away got into it.
We started getting wind of punk rock and hip-hop, and at that time, the skateboarding, breakdancing, that whole scene was real big.
I remember in the late 70s and early 80s when Mexicans were already doing breakdancing before anybody saw it. Nobody did breakdancing in LA except Mexicans. It wasn't even black people.